People are going to see you as they are, not as you are. And what do I mean when I say this? The problems that most people will go through is the way that others perceive them, right? If we're honest with each other, for the most part, we want to be accepted by others. We want to have friends. We want to be semi-popular. We just want to be liked. Nobody likes the feeling that they are not liked or that they are not wanted. That's just common sense for I'd say for most people or most humans. That is why. And I think it stems something from back in the day, we would gather in little tribes to survive. And you would always want to be in that tribe. Like you wouldn't want to be kicked out of the tribe because getting kicked out of the tribe meant that you were going to die. I just want you to know that the way that other people see you is more of a reflection of them than it is of you. And you hear this very often, but nobody explains it simply. They just say that and it sounds pretty cool. And I don't think anyone ever gets it. But basically, people can see things, and the way that everyone sees things is different. People will perceive things differently. To give you a very brief example is, have you ever moved to a new area, and when you actually lived in that area, when you first saw it, it looked a certain way, but now that you're used to living there, it looks completely different than when you originally went there. If you remember that, if you can just use that as an example and then just remember that, just keep in mind that the way people perceive it, everyone is going to perceive things so differently. So I could be walking down the street wearing this outfit, for example, and people will perceive me differently. Someone might think, oh, there's just a guy dressed casually walking. Some people might think, oh my God, look at him. He thinks he's the shit. People might think, oh, there's just some random Mexican dude. Some people might think, oh, there's an ugly guy walking down the street. Oh, there's a cute guy. I mean, that'd be nice. There's a cute guy walking down the street. Right? It could be so many different random scenarios that people will perceive me. And none of those are necessarily true because I'm just a guy walking. So whatever they believe about me isn't really necessarily a reflection of me, because that is their own opinion, and all of their opinions are valid because that's them. Now, typically when people, perceive you poorly, because that's the main thing, right? People will project onto you what they see typically in themselves. So if they have insecurities, sometimes they'll notice that a lot faster. So they might be like, oh, this guy's got no jawline. They might not have a jawline either. So they project that onto me, and then they look or hyper focus on details like that. Perspective is literally everything. I was thinking to myself, think about someone wearing a leather jacket. And now I've been wearing leather jackets since I was probably in senior year of high school. Before it was popular, before everyone started wearing leather jackets again. And I wore them because I thought they were kind of cool. I thought they looked nice. I'd seen some movies where they wear a leather jacket, maybe with a button-up shirt, and it looks kind of nice, right? It looks a little fancy. So I would wear my leather jacket. And then I've also seen rock stars wear it, in the 80s, the 70s, they'd kind of wear a leather jacket, and I thought it looked kind of cool. So I would wear it, and people would make fun of me because they thought I was trying to be a greaser, like how they did in the 50s and 60s, I guess. I don't know what time period they were in, but at that point, they would wear leather jackets, so people would make fun of me and just call me oh, you're a greaser. I didn't really care too much about it, but it's just kind of funny, in my perspective, I'm seeing it more of a 70s, 80s rock star kind of way, or if I wore it in a fancy way, more of a buttoned up, classy kind of way, and other people were perceiving it as a 50s greaser kind of way. So this is just a very brief example about how whatever they think about it, I can't control it because there's way too many opinions and thoughts on just me. And the thing is, most people don't even really care that much. You think they do, but it'll be a second glimpse. Maybe they'll make a comment and they don't think about it. But if you hear that comment, you're going to be sitting there thinking about that the whole day because you're you. So you're always with you. And you are going to be overanalyzing all these different things. And the reason I'm saying this is because I don't want you to really worry too much about what other people are thinking or worry about what the world is thinking. You are living in third person when you're doing that, because you should be living in first person here, being aware of the present moment and, going through life. It is not your job to worry about what everything or everyone around you is thinking or perceiving you, because they're not. They got better things to do, just like you have better things to do. And the thing is, nowadays, because of social media and how, I don't even want to say what's the word for it? How unconscious and not present people are. Everybody is living in third point of view. So it's always I'm going to be doing this because I want people to perceive me a certain way. but people aren't going to perceive you a certain way because you have experiences, you have memories, you've had different life experiences that shape the way you see the world differently than everyone else. So when you do something in your mind, it's a certain way. It might be like a cool little aesthetic in your mind. You're going to be doing this. People are going to perceive it like that. But in reality, they're not, because they have a whole different filter that they're living the world by. Like imagine if I'm like, for example, I like a lot of classic stuff or a lot of like more vintage stuff. Imagine if someone like me saw my room, I would think it's sick. But imagine someone that's really emo or maybe someone that's really preppy, they'll see my stuff and be like, what the heck? This looks kind of lame. Like it looks so old and old fashioned. But it's because they've had a different, experiences, different tastes, different everything that helps them perceive it a different way than I do when I look at my room. This will help you become more present. You'll be able to enjoy everything it is that you are living in. You're going to go back into living in the first person point of view, and you're going to realize that everyone is different and everyone's got different perspectives in life. So it's going to help you judge less, because you're going to be like, okay, who knows, maybe he saw that a different way than I saw it, or maybe she saw it a different way than I saw it. And when people say mean things about you, it's usually more of a reflection of them. So you're not going to take it as personal, because if you take it personal, it's because you don't realize that, and you're like, oh, they probably actually are just insecure about this one thing, and that's the shade, or that's the lens that they're seeing it through. It's also because you're no longer judging other people as much, because you realize that you and them are so similarly alike and have just a different perspective, you aren't going to feel as insecure, because again, you're projecting. If you think that people are going about just judging the heck out of you, then guess what? That is because you're going around judging the heck out of everyone else. But if you're no longer doing that, your mind isn't even in that mindset to begin with. You're just vibing, living out your life, and then someone else is doing that. Yeah, give it a try. Just be more present. Keep that in mind. Be like, oh, okay, people's projection of me is not true. People are going to see me however they want to see me, and that is perfectly fine.